Joshua,
Alrighty.
what's going on, man?
It's going good. I just got back from Seattle, so it's nice to be back home in Utah.
Ooh. Ooh. Dude, Seattle is rough.
No, it's not.
You like Seattle?
Yeah, I like Seattle a lot. I like going
Do
up
you?
there when I can. Yep.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I'm not a fan of Seattle proper. Um, I did spend some summers with my grandparents up in Port Orchard, which was a good area, but man, I had a couple projects up in Seattle from time to time, and I just was not a fan. It was a little rough. But
Yeah,
that
since
could have
they
been the fact I was in some rougher parts of the area.
well, since they cleaned up near Pike's Place Market, it's a lot better now.
When did they clean that up?
A few years ago, they took out the overpass.
Really?
Yeah, so now it's a
Wow.
walkable area a lot more, and it's just a lot nicer. So, yeah.
Very cool.
Yep.
So, you know, but the audience doesn't know. The reason I got you on is because, man, you've been busy. You've been producing some videos that deal with the fullness of the gospel.
Yes, sir. I like working with AI. I like making stupid like I would make still images of like cowboys and Indians and stuff, just like like have it rotate and stuff. But yeah, this time around since Sora AI came out, it's just been I was just really drawn to produce gospel content because I'm kind of tired of anti-Mormons on TikTok and anti-Mormonism in general. And especially
Okay.
like that one woman that did that New York Times article and was wearing the temple
Yes.
garments and stuff. Like I've seen a lot of that on TikTok too, where they actually perform the signs and tokens as well. And it's just like it frustrates me so much that you want to make a mockery of what you've learned. And I don't think they actually realize that God will come back and bite you because it's just he will not be mocked. So, and it's just like it's been so important for me to get these videos made and like show like the good and the bad of the church, like the Mountain Meadows massacre. Like someone actually asked me, they're like, "Hey, can you do Mountain Meadows?" And I was like, "Sure, I can do Mountain Meadows," and made that up real quick. And like it takes me for like my long episodes that I make, it takes me about like a full working day. So like I'd say 16 to 18 hours of like just typing in prompts and having the AI
Oh.
go through it so I can actually find like the videos that I like with the audio that I like and with the dialogue that the AI creates.
Oh. 16 to 18 hours?
Yeah,
And when you say longer videos, what are we talking about, like lengthwise?
they're about 5 minutes long. Like I have the Utah War, John Taylor, and the Vision of Plural Marriage. And then I have the Tree of Life. I got the Brother of Jared, and then I did the Current Bush story by Hubie Brown, and then I just released a quick summary of Mormon's life. So those are my longest videos I've been like producing.
Well, man, I've been looking at the numbers and it doesn't look like it's being received badly at all. I mean, I was when I first got it showed to me, I was like, "Ooh, I gotta get this guy on," because look, anybody who makes content like that talk about the fullness of the gospel, I'm there for it, right? I think, there's so much in our world that can be used for either good and bad, right? And I believe AI as well as the internet, it's the same thing, right? It's like any other tool. You can take a hammer and you can build a house with it, or you could use it to hit somebody with, right? And that's all up to the person using it. So whenever I see anyone using tech to further the gospel, man, I get excited. And I really got excited when I saw your videos. And we're gonna play a couple of those here in just a few minutes. But before we dive in there, I want to get a little bit background on you. Um, this is the part I always like to talk about. This is this is where you get to lay down your Mormon street cred, right?
Yeah.
Um, tell us kind of a little bit about where you're from. So, are you from the mainstream church? Are you a fundamentalist? Like what's your journey? How'd you end up on this podcast?
Well, I ended up on this podcast back in 2022 when you started, and when you were talking about the temple changes, that like the very first one of those episodes. And it was very interesting to listen to those podcasts. And then but I consider myself mainstream Mormon, but
Okay.
I kind of like lean a little independent though. I'm just like, yeah, mainstream's good, but uh there's still a lot of truth out there that the church wants to just go, never happened, don't worry about it. It's whatever. Let's not talk about it. Let's just focus on the second coming. But yeah, I was born in 1995, so I'm almost 30, and I grew up in predominantly in the Wyoming area, Rock Springs, Superior, and uh I was baptized in Rock Springs as well, and I wasn't active for a long while until I had my grandpa. He bought me a Dodge Neon, so it was a stick shift. I miss that. I miss that car sometimes. But I was actually going to hang out with my friend who's LDS as well. His name's Sean, and like where the stake center for Rock Springs is, it's like sits above like the Rock Springs High School if you're heading
Yep, I know
westbound.
exactly where you're talking about.
Yeah. And I was just going to go hang out with them over during the summertime, and I was driving and I was looking at the stake center, and I heard the spirit speak to me saying, "You need to go back to church." And this is when I was about 16 at the time.
So hang
And
tight real quick. Were your folks raised LDS as well?
yes, my mom was raised LDS, my grandpa was baptized LDS, and just my mom worked a lot, and my
Okay.
grandpa, he didn't really go to church a lot, so I once I had a vehicle, I was able to go back to church. But
At 16 you received this prompting.
yes. And I went to my friend's house, and that was like the first thing I asked him. I was like, "Hey Sean, I need you to ask your dad to see what ward I belong to and see about having me get back to church and everything." And he got me the information, and I started going back to church, and then I moved down to here to Utah my junior year of high school and got ready for my mission when I turned 19 after I graduated from Northridge High School in Layton. And during that time too, I had a really big prompting from the spirit as well, because my junior year we were studying the Book of Mormon in seminary, as we always do. But
Right.
my teacher, Brother Robbins, he was like, "You guys need to actually take the promise of Mormon and come to find out if the Book of Mormon is true for yourself." And I said to myself, I'm going to do that. And I read through the whole Book of Mormon, and I got to that point where Moroni gives his promise, and I I finished reading it. I set the Book of Mormon down. I kneeled down in front of the Book of Mormon, and I did a simple prayer of, Heavenly Father, I would like to know that the Book of Mormon is true. And it was kind of late at night. I don't know if it was a school weekend or not. I'd have to look in my journal. But I go to bed, and I have a dream where there's a whole bunch of people just like running away from this bright light, and I'm going towards it, and all of a sudden I see the 12 apostles, like ancient 12 apostles,
Hmm.
wearing a whole bunch of different multicolored robes come down, and then In the middle of it is Jesus, who's wearing a bright white robe. I didn't see his face, so but it was just so bright. And the one question that Jesus asked me was, "Do you know how to pray?" And I said to him, I said, "I do. It's our Father who art in heaven." And he says, "That's it." And then I wake up from my dream. And you know, I'm not trying to get emotional, but that's just something that can never be taken away from me, and I hold that near and dear to my heart because I know that it is true that Joseph Smith was a true prophet and that he did translate from golden plates. And that, and recently too, I went to Palmyra this year, and I did, it was like February this year, February or January. And I went to the temple, and I was just like, God, I just want to have a good experience up here in Palmyra, and just to know the truth of things and get done with my temple session. I do the tour of the Joseph Smith family farm, and we get to the point of where the tour guide was like, this is where in the little shed that Joseph Smith hides the golden plates and flax seeds. And I'm just like, I'm taking pictures, and I'm like, I should really take a picture of the attic space of that little shed. And then all of a sudden I hear a voice saying, it's true after all. And I just like, I
Wow.
started crying. But yeah, that was just another experience I had. But I did serve a full-time mission. Not full, I did serve a full-time mission. And it was the Georgia Atlanta North mission. And I came home early because there was some there was a little bit of drama back at my grandma's house with ward members that were kind of taking advantage of her. So I decided, I was just like, you know what? I'm not seeing the blessings of a mission affect my family like they should. So I'm just going to go home.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
then, oh, were you going to ask a question?
Yeah, just out of curiosity, when you come home from your mission early, do you get any flack from your ward or your bishop or your stake president, anything like that?
A little bit, but like I just didn't really care. I was just like, I'm done. I don't really care about anything. Like I just became very neutral because I was just like,
Mm,
where were these blessings that were supposed to be happening while I was out in the field? Like that's how I felt a lot during that time. But
gotcha.
after that, I started working in security. COVID hit, quit working security, started doing warehouse work, and then I'm I'm now self-employed where I'm a pilot car driver with oversized loads, so I get to travel across the country a lot of the time too now.
Not a bad gig.
No, it's not. I mean, it makes decent money. And then sometimes I stress
Right,
out going, "Oh my gosh, I might not have enough money to make it home." But yeah.
right, right. Whew, that's big stuff. So on your mission, did you have, and I'm gonna use air quotes here for this, much success when you were on your mission?
Yeah, I had success. I had my in total I had 3 baptisms.
It's not
And
bad. That's pretty
no,
good.
well, actually one of them, my companion and I, Elder Pena, we actually got a text message from someone, and they're like, "Hey, I'd like to get baptized." And we were like, "Wait, what? Someone wants to get baptized already?" And so we go over to their house, and the woman, her name was Alexandria. She was like, Yeah, I just took a test online, just one of those Facebook ones, and it says I would align with the Mormon church, so I want to learn about the Mormon church. And she was baptized.
Once again, tech can be both a good and a bad thing. So that's pretty good. So yeah, I mean that's the most golden of golden contexts when they say, "Would you come over and baptize me?" So
Yep,
that's not a
exactly.
bad way to start it out.
No, that was like within, I'd say, the first 3 months of me being out on the field.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, you're thinking, I don't know why everyone was saying this whole mission thing's so hard. It seems pretty easy to me. You just hang
Oh,
by the phone and they call up.
it's a numbers game at the end of the day, though. So it's just
It
like
is.
I'm just like that was another reason why I wanted to leave the mission too, is like I was like, oh, I'm so excited to go out. I'm so excited to do this and numbers. Like, oh, okay, well, I guess we'll work on numbers.
Right.
Whatever.
Right. So as a missionary, you would have had to have gone through the temple, right?
Yes.
What you think of that experience?
Um, looking back at it, back because I did it in 2015,
Hmm.
and I it was an interesting experience. And then before I left on my mission, my friend Kimball, we went to the Bountiful Temple together with his dad. And once we finished the session and we were in the celestial room, his dad's like, "Oh, did you know? I'm going to tell you this. Like, we took out the oh, what is it? The death penalty tokens back in the 90s." And I
The
was like,
penalties, yeah, the
and I was like,
penalties.
"Oh, there was death penalty tokens? Like, huh? What? I didn't know about that. Like, that's interesting." But now talking to the temple and like what's going on currently with it, I've listened to your podcast, like I said, and you worked at the Salt Lake Temple during the renovations,
Yeah,
and you saw the destruction of all that.
I did.
Sorry, I'm just kind of that great pioneer artwork
Right.
that just really depicted everything.
Yep.
Sorry, I got emotional, but
Oh, you're good, man. It happens.
and that was the first time I actually did a live session too. Was seeing a live session. Man, I wish I was able to do a live session before they changed up Manti. But
Right.
but just that destruction of the pioneer artwork just it really upset me knowing that. But
A few years back, I started to get the feeling that we, as fundamentalists and Orthodox Mormons, we need our own stuff. Up to now, we've been able to buy and purchase all of our scriptures, books, art, and music from other restoration organizations. And that's been good, but there's no guarantee it's going to remain that way. Also, it can be a bit tricky as you scour the internet trying to find all the books from your favorite fundamentalist or Orthodox Mormon authors. As I thought about this, I feel like I was really given a solution. Now, through the hard work of others, because let's face it, I'm the guy least qualified in all the world to build a website, I'm happy to present to you 1830mercantile.org. Right now on the website, you can see that we have all the books that have ever been written by four authors, including names like Drew Briney and Ogden Kraut. Also, very soon there will be a link to buy art and music, all produced by Mormons with a deep love for the restored gospel. There's also places for you to get free resources where you can find podcasts, videos, classes, and other presentations. Also, coming very soon, there will be a place for events where you can list the events from your organization so that you can get the most out of that attendance. Now, this can be as big as you want it to be. It's all up to you guys out there if you want to buy and post things on here. Now, if you're someone who produces something that you feel like others can benefit from, 1830 Mercantile is a place where you can make all of those products available for purchase. All you need to do is drop me an email at mormonrenegade@gmail.com and put 1830 in the title of that email with a short message, and either myself or someone else from the 1830 Mercantile team will reach out to you so we can get your product up there on the site. Now, to make sure that all the products that we offer are affordable and to ensure that the vast majority of the profits go to the producer, The website percentage is only 3 to 4% of the total cost. And that's just so I can pay the pros that have created this website and keep the lights on the website itself. Finally, by making some of your purchases at 1830mercantile.org, you will be supporting folks whose principles and morals are close, if not the same as yours. At the same time, not giving your money away to people who stand against everything you stand for. So, no matter if you're looking to make a purchase or you're a seller that wants to get your products listed, head on over to 1830mercantile.org today, drop me an email, and we'll make sure that we get back out to you. Now, back to the show.
Like, I wish, and this is kind of a part of me, like with what I'm doing with AI, is I wish the church would have actually preserved the pioneer artwork and put it on display. And instead of like just ripping it out. And then I went to the Manti Temple when it had its open house, and I went through it twice because I was just like, I was so enamored with all the different kind of artwork that was in there. Like the baptistry, like the artwork from the 40s that was in there. I'm just like, this looks so cool seeing the Nephites getting baptized, seeing uh Joseph Smith and Oliver Cowdery getting baptized and Jesus getting baptized, and then walking through the Garden of Eden and seeing seeing the pterodactyl in the back because there's a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
pterodactyl, and it's
Yes,
just
there
like
is.
I'm just like, holy cow, that's a pterodactyl. That's pretty cool. The pioneers put that in. And then you go to the Tree of Life room, and it's just like I had to get so close and see like just the detail of the fruit of the tree of knowledge and the tree of good and evil. And it's just like, or no, sorry, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. And it's just like it was so cool to see that. And then going into the world room with all the art that Minerva, I can't say her
Yep.
last name. Her last name's harder than mine. But just seeing all that cool artwork still preserved and not destroyed, I was just like, this is great. And it's just like the end goal of me with AI, using Sora AI, is like, here is artwork that, yeah, sure, it's AI generated, but I'd like to see modern Mormon pioneers of the art world be able to make and produce this kind of quality artwork for animation to rival the old living scripture videos because I grew up on those.
Sure. Sure. A lot of men, a lot of young fathers made a lot of money trying to support their family selling those door to door back in the day.
I bet they did.
You know, you bring up the artwork here, right? And for anyone who hasn't done a live session or hasn't been to a Pioneer era temple or something like that, what Josh is talking about is in those pioneer days, um, they would paint representations of the phase of the endowment that you were in. And Josh, this took me so long to figure out, right? Because I, like you, felt the same way, right? When the artwork started to go away out of there, those murals. I was like, why does this upset me so? Right? Why does this feel so bad? And I sat there and I thought about it for a minute. And I think I figured it out, at least for me, why it felt so bad. And I think that part of it was because it's just not artwork, right? Keep in mind, those pioneer era temples, those are that's somebody's testimony that is painted on the wall, right? That is somebody's testimony of this is so true that I am willing to take what however long it takes to get these murals just right. And they pour themselves into it. And so I think we can feel the testimony of those early Mormons pouring out of the work that they did. And I think that's one of the reasons it is so, so powerful that and why it leaves such a mark when they're all of a sudden gone. Because in some ways it feels like, and I know nobody in the church means it this way, right? But you can't help but think you're just getting rid of their testimony, right? And so that's kind of how I've equated it.
No, I agree with you on that. And I actually I went to an Orthodox church once. It's down in the Provo area. And on the inside they show like the Theotokos and like scenes from Christ's life. And I'm sitting there, I'm just like, this the temple artwork is kind of our iconography of like testifying of like
Yeah.
what's going on. And then like because I like I said, I went to the Palmyra temple and you have the creation room there. And then I also went to the Nauvoo temple this year too. And like being able to walk through that and seeing all the different artwork that they did for the Nauvoo temple that was restored 20 years ago or 20 plus years now, I think. And seeing all the time and effort and the beauty of it, it's just like why I'm kind of this is gonna be my biggest gripe. I hate being PowerPointed with the new temple endowment where it's just slides. And it's just
Hmm.
like I see so many people falling asleep. It's just like, oh, okay, well, this is fun. They're barely moving their mouths. Okay. Oh, it's easier for them to translate it for other countries. Okay. But I'm just like,
But yeah, so it sounded a little fringy to you.
yeah, because it's just like I was just like I was so interested in it. It's just like I want to know more. I want more. I want the deep doctrine. Give me the deep doctrine. Like here, so talking about the LGBTQ stuff.
Absolutely. Okay. So when is it you start like, oh, being cognizant and aware of, it sounds like the your buddy's dad, when you go through the temple for the first time, tells you about the penalties, right?
Right.
And is that the first time that you were ever kind of exposed to like, hey, it wasn't always like this? And
Yes.
then what causes you to start looking like, and again, you're not a fundamentalist now. You know, it sounds like there's certainly things in fundamentalism that you might agree with, and some things I'm just guessing that cause you to hold back a little bit, which is fine.
Correct.
I'm
Correct.
not here to judge anybody. But when do you start like figuring out, hey, there might be a little more to the story than than what I've been told thus far?
Being honest with you, like I said, first listening to your podcast back in 2022 with the temple changes that
Oops,
episode. So
my
it's
bad.
well, I don't even remember how I actually got onto your thing because I listened to it on iTunes and it's just like all of a sudden I see this thing called Mormon Renegade and I'm like, ooh, this kind of sounds cool. This kind of sounds on the border of something. Like, what's going on with this? Like, and ever since I've been hooked listening to it.
Okay.
So I was teaching temple prep and because this was my idea. I said, I don't think we should call anyone to teach temple prep. I think each of us as a presidency should do 2 lessons each to just say this is what temple prep is like and this is how you're going to go through the temple. And so I did the first lesson and then I did the second lesson of like you have to be worthy to enter a temple. And I was just given it and I was just like I was just like, you have to be really worthy. You have to be worthy enough to go into the temple and people that are gay and transsexual shouldn't be going into the temple because they have those problems. And
Not necessarily judging the person, but just saying you got to work through this first, right?
right. And it's just like that's you have to be worthy. And it's just like
Right.
I've had my falling, I fell from grace for a while, and you have to take those temple covenants seriously. Like that's a
Mhm.
big thing. And the next day, it's Monday, I'm sitting there just goofing off, playing video games or something, and I get a text from my Sunday school president. And he was like, "Hey, can we talk about yesterday's lesson? I just want to go over it." And I was just like, I was kind of mad. I was like, "Oh, let's see if it's going to be about the gays and the trans I talked about."
Mhm.
And he's like, "Well, I got some feedback after the lesson, and some of the sisters got offended." And I said, "I'm going to stop you right there because currently in the temple there is a training about turning people in that are same sex and kiss inside the temple. So I'm going to stop you right there." And I learned that through watching a TikTok from an Exmo about that.
Right.
And it's just like I was like, okay, so that's going on in the temple about the gays and stuff. So it's just like, and you're going to come to me and say like you have an issue with me teaching the truth? So I was just like, well, I guess I'm going to be a Benedai now and be persecuted for teaching the truth. And so I gave my testimony that fast and testimony Sunday. I gave my testimony saying I gave the truth, and I use quotes from Brigham Young. It's just like if you want to mock me, go ahead. I don't care. It's it's just so dumb to even worry about these kind of things. It's just like that was just one of the big things that I was just like I was just so, and I think yeah, just
So you get talked to by your higher ups, right?
yeah.
And then what's kind of your response there, right? I mean, you tell them, look, there's worthiness standards here, right? They need to take these covenants seriously.
I kind of just I kind of got a little mad, and I was just like, I'm just gonna be mad and just go,
Hmm.
yeah, whatever, whatever. You want to just be mad at me for teaching like the correct doctrines that we should be teaching, whatever. And then my bishop, he's like, "Hey, I heard there was like a little war going on in Sunday school." And I'm like, "No, no, there is no war. There's no war going on. I just told him, it's a worthiness issue." And he was
Hmm.
like, "Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. It's just people need to be worthy to go through the temple." And I was like, "Yep, pretty much." But yeah,
And then that kind of went away.
yeah, that kind of went away. Like because I'm a pilot car driver, I can pick and choose when I can go out and do work.
Oh,
So it's always nice to pick when if I'm really upset at
yeah.
something, I can just go, I'm not going to church this week at my ward. I'll go to Seattle, or I'll go to LA, or I'll go to somewhere in the Midwest and hopefully get to stop for the day on a Sunday and go to church.
Right.
Oh man. Yeah. You know what's fun too is like I actually went to oh, I can't the New Mexico area near Farmington. I actually was able to go to a Native American ward down there. It was a Shiprock area. That's where it was.
Okay.
So it was just like nice going in there and actually feeling the spirit in there too. It's just like, oh wow, they're having a nice time gathering together, and it's just like it's so cool to go to different wards and see everything
Right.
without
Right.
the Utah lenses.
Yeah. Outside the bubble.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So, wow. So you go through that, but you start seeing all this stuff start to shift, right? And then like what inspires you to, you know what, before we go there,
Yeah,
is there any part of your background you feel like that we need to cover that's super important?
I think we've already hit the keynotes.
Okay. All right. I think what I want to do here is I want to give people a sample of your work. So we're going to watch two videos here. This first one is kind of a retelling of the crackdown by the federal government on the Mormons in Utah. and then subsequently the kind of the 1886 revelation, right? And so I want to play those, and then we'll move on to another one that has to do with the Mormon War, right?
Right.
And so we'll play both of those, and then we'll come back on, and then I want to talk about your process and how you do this. Okay?
Right. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Hello. I appreciate all the views I have been given by uploading church history videos. This next video that I made is neither for or against the practice of plural marriage.
The United States Congress passed the Edmunds Act, branding plural marriage a crime. Across the territory, wives and husbands of the faith were torn from their homes, shackled, and marched before.
You think iron can shame me? My family was bound by covenant long before your badge.
The territory says different. Polygamy's a crime now, Jonah. You know that.
Please, Sheriff. He's done.
Road's pushing closer every month. We can't hide in silence forever.
And when the marshals ride in, they'll call us criminals, Caleb.
It isn't a crime to love as the Lord commands, but I'm scared all the same.
Then we'll stand together.
$800 award for the arrest of John Taylor.
800, huh?
Spread the word. Anyone brings him in gets the cash.
In 1886, Centerville, Utah, John Taylor, president of the church, is forced into hiding from federal marshals. The Woolley family takes him into their home for safekeeping.
President Taylor, the government is seizing church assets. If plural marriage is not set aside, the temple itself may be taken.
They would have us bargain away a commandment to keep the walls of stone.
We plead for...
Brethren, this matter weighs heavy on my soul. Before I can give an answer regarding plural marriage, I must seek the Lord in prayer.
Of course, President Taylor.
Good night, brethren.
Is firm. Curtains draw tight. You'll sleep easier knowing we checked, President Taylor.
Who's on the door?
John Woolley tonight, sir. Stay sharp, Woolley. Nothing gets past you.
Aye, he'll be safe.
Oh God, hear the words of thy servant. Shall we as a church abandon the new and everlasting covenant to save church properties?
Brother Joseph, is that you?
Yes, it is me. But there is someone else here for you.
My son John, you have asked me concerning the new and everlasting covenant, how far it is binding upon my people. How can I revoke an everlasting covenant? For I, the Lord, am everlasting, and my everlasting covenants cannot be abrogated nor done away with, but they stand forever.
And verily, thus saith the Lord, all those who will enter into my glory must and shall obey this law.
Do you see the sign, President Taylor?
A covenant beyond dispute. It must be kept.
Then we are agreed.
It's still locked. I'm going to check the rest of the house.
That's locked. Windows, too. No one getting in tonight. Still feels wrong. Like something's out there.
Can't you feel the spirit? Why should you worry?
Who's there?
Brothers, look at that light.
I can't. It's too bright.
Gentlemen, don't be troubled. I've only come. Brethren, I have had a very pleasant conversation all night with Brother Joseph.
Boss, who was that man that was there until midnight?
Brother Lauren, that was your Lord Jesus Christ. Now let us have a meeting about what is to be done about plural marriage.
Brethren, let me put you under covenant that he or she will defend the principle of celestial or plural marriage, and that they would consecrate their lives, liberty, and property to this end.
In the autumn of 1886, President John Taylor set his pen to paper, recording a sacred message he believed was given of God concerning celestial marriage. The revelation...
It says President Taylor saw the Lord and was told plural marriage could never be revoked.
The church never sustained this as binding revelation. It holds no authority over
But
us.
the words, they won't let go.
July 25th, 1887. While still in hiding from United States Marshals in Kaysville, Utah Territory, President John Taylor draws his final breath. The mantle soon rests upon Wilford Woodruff.
By the year 1891, Wilford Woodruff, president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, would issue Official Declaration 1, formally ending the practice of plural marriage.
Over the next 138 years, leaders of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints would dismiss the existence of John Taylor's 1886 revelation.
By 2025, the quiet work of a single church historian shook the world.
And that is awesome. Okay, we'll go here to the one about the Utah war now.
Okay.
James Buchanan takes the oath as the 15th President of the United States. Within months, under mounting public and political pressure, he resolves to act decisively against the Mormon community in Utah.
It is time to end the barbarism of polygamy in Utah.
and to remove the theoretic king of the Mormon Church, Brigham Young, from the office of Territorial Governor.
Governor Young, word from the east. President Buchanan has ordered federal troops west. They're marching for Utah.
Troops to put us under heel. Hear me. From this hour, the territory of Deseret is under martial law. No
Brethren, the governor's proclamation has reached us. Brigham has declared martial law across the territory.
Then Cedar City must decide how to enforce it. The immigrant trains keep coming. Do we bar the roads? Do we disarm them?
See this piece here? Same rifle that dropped Joe Smith in Carthage. Ain't she a beauty?
You brag about that like it's something to be proud
Man ought to remember who holds the power out here.
Maybe.
Brothers, the wagon train lingers still. We've warned them once. Now we have to decide what comes next.
You're talking about turning the Pahute loose on them. That'll stain all our hands, Isaac.
The council won't move on the train until we hear from Salt Lake. This has to reach President Young without delay.
I'll get it to him, no matter the miles.
Ride hard, Haslam. The lives of many hang on his word. Go, ride hard. He needs this before the sun sets.
Brother Lee, from Isaac Haight.
Let's see it. Do not strike the immigrant train. Wait on counsel from President Young.
President Young, dispatch from Cedar City. It's dire.
Let me see it. This must be answered at once. Take this back. Tell them the emigrants are to pass in peace, all right? Word from Salt Lake's not coming. Those wagons won't wait for orders, and neither will we. Get your colors on. Paint up. Feathers, hides, every inch like the Paiute. Aye, Lee. When the sun drops, we strike.
Chains are tight. Dirt's holding. How long you think we can keep this up?
As long as we have to. These wagons are our wall now. Don't let yourself blink.
Not a chance.
Ride hard! Don't let them circle up!
They're heading for the wagon.
Cut them down! Leave no one standing!
We're running low on powder. Keep them boxed in. For 5 days, they've held out. We can't keep this up. If they saw our faces, word will spread. No witnesses. When the signal comes, we finish it.
Letter from Salt Lake. Brigham says the emigrant train was to pass in peace. No harm to come to them.
What have I done? Mr. Bridger, Washington sent us to keep the peace. What can you tell us about these Mormons we're riding toward? What sort of folk are we dealing with?
Utah country starts past those ridges. High valleys, salt flats, and not a lot of mercy in between.
Folks say the Mormons run it like their own nation. That true?
True enough. They trust each other.
But they're still a mile out. Once they hit the choke point, we drop it all at once.
Aye. Let the canyon speak for us.
They're all tied in that row. You get the bay, I'll handle the chestnut.
Right. Keep it quiet. Rope's loose. Let's move.
Soldiers are stirring. Hurry!
Into the trees. Don't look back.
Chief Kanosh, together we can keep the soldiers from tearing this valley apart.
We fight for our homes. Your people stand with mine, Brigham Young. The Bluecoats will find no easy path.
Then let this be our...
Brother Kane, I ask you once more to intercede with President Buchanan. Let him know our hearts seek peace, not war. If my removal as governor will ease the nation, I have ever been willing to lay...
Gentlemen, I have walked the fields of battle, and I know the ruin that follows the roar of cannon. To turn that thunder upon our own citizens, upon the Mormons of the West, would be an intolerable evil. I beg...
It came out of nowhere. Like the clouds were waiting for us.
Maybe it's a warning.
Call them halt. We'll make camp here. We push farther, we lose the whole train.
Sir.
The army marches this way, and they intend to take this valley from us. If they set foot in Salt Lake City, we will give them only ashes. Be ready to fire the city, every home, every storehouse, and when the smoke goes, the word from the east is clear. Federal troops march for this valley. If they come, the temple must not fall into their hands.
President Young!
You mean to hide it?
Bury the foundation. Cover every stone until not a corner shows. Whole city's hollow. Not a soul to look back at us.
Captain, this was where the saints said they'd raise their temple.
And now it's nothing but dirt. Keep the men alert.
1858, Brigham Young stepped down as governor of the Utah Territory, helping to end tensions between the Mormon settlers and the U.S. government during the Utah War.
One of the leaders who struck the immigrant wagon train, John D. Lee, told the court he was a scapegoat for what happened. The jury still found him guilty, and when the time came for sentence, he chose the volley.
Man, so, okay, first, what gives you the prompting to do this, right? It's kind of an out-of-the-box way of telling a pretty complex story.
Correct. So I learned about Sora AI about a month ago or 3 weeks ago. And I was seeing a whole bunch of TikToks of like Jesus Christ or even the Garden of Eden. There's a guy called Bible Dude, and he's just been creating like the story of the Garden of Eden and like the Lucifer's fall and everything. And I was like, you know what? Where's my Mormon content? Where is like Book of Mormon stories. Like, what's going on with that? So I put myself in for Sora AI, and I was sitting there for a week. I was checking it every so often to see if I actually got access, and then like I'll tell you how many days it's been since I actually got access because I've been keeping track with the Gospel Library app. It's been about 2 weeks of constant work making AI
Oh,
content.
wait. Hold on a second. You have that many videos up for 2 weeks?
So there's invite codes that you can send out to other people, and I created 2 other email accounts, just throwaway email accounts, and I technically have the opportunity to create 90 scenes in a 24-hour period. And it's a whole bunch of trial and error to get what I want to be exactly what I want. And like those first few videos that I created, I just put into the prompt using 90s anime style, and then like a quick summary of what I want. And like my favorite part from the John Taylor video is where it's like, because I went on Wikipedia and I was just reading through, skimming everything, and it's just like it shows the summary of like why the church and fundamentalists split off. And so I make a summary of that, and then it just made the perfect dialogue because you have the guy in the background where it's just like, well, the church didn't really accept that as revelation, so it's not binding. And then you have the person in front in the foreground reading it, going, it's these words are speaking to me, like,
So
and
AI
doing
wrote all that dialogue.
correct. AI wrote that dialogue off of the prompt that I put in as a summary. And
Holy cow.
so I'm going to be honest with you, working on that John Taylor video, I felt the spirit so much. I would watch a clip and I would start crying because I was just like, I feel the spirit right now working on this. And like that scene, and then the scene of Joseph Smith saying, "It is me, but there is someone else here for you." That scene made me cry so much too, because I was just like, you can finally see what's going on. You can see what's going on in front of you, and you can actually feel a connection to it. And it's just like, you know, a voice will speak from the dust. Everything will speak from the dust. Even John Taylor's words and Woolley's words, they speak from the dust. And now they've been put out in an audio visual form. And I think that's really important. And plus, I wanted to be controversial after I made that the Mountain Meadows video.
I'm not breaking any news here. We live in spiritually perilous times. It seems like danger is all around us or our family spiritually all the time. But our God hasn't left us defenseless. We read in Ephesians chapter 6 verse 17, "And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God." So in our spiritual battles, the scriptures are our sword. But just like real swords, not all canon of scripture are made equal. You need to make sure that you're entering the battle with the right gear. With that thought in mind, Drew Briney and others have been working on a project to bring you what is now being called the restored version of the scriptures. So, what is the restored version of the scriptures? The restored version is the most accurate, exhaustive, comfortable to read triple combination ever made. It was designed to honor Joseph Smith's revelatory words and edits through clean and accurate Joseph approved texts. The restored version contains each book found in the modern LDS triple combination. That is the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price, except it has Joseph's original inspired text in an easy to read format. It restores the lectures on faith, which were removed in 1921. It adds an additional 87 uncanonized revelations of Joseph Smith, as well as 33 revelations received by Brigham Young, John Taylor, and Wilford Woodruff, and other members of the Quorum of the Twelve. Each copy of the restored version is built to last. These scriptures look good, feel comfortable, and are bound to last. The restored version uses cover material that is ideal for high quality books, that is both hard wearing and soft, and should handle many years of use. It has beautiful gold and silver gilded edges. It has sturdy, flexible binding, making it so the book may comfortably and safely be laid on a desk. It has reliable paper that is very thin, yet sturdy and thick enough that it's hard to see through, and comes with marking ribbons so that you never lose your reading place. Each copy of the restored version are built with the intent of lasting for years and years, just like the LDS versions of the triple combination. You might be asking yourself, what are the benefits of owning your own copy of the restored version of the scriptures? Well, how's this for starters? Number one, the spiritual significance. The restored version contains every known revelation of Joseph Smith, as well as those of his first successors. The historical significance. While the foundational text for the restored version is the latest edition of each book of scripture that Joseph approved, the restored version carefully documents through footnotes, italicized texts, every substantive change made by Joseph or his editing committee, making the restored version a truly original set of scriptures. Formatting significance. The restored version contains no columns, no cumbersome cross references, and no paragraph breaks at every verse, just like the original, and has been improved with many verse numbers in the paragraphs, which provide a smooth, seamless reading experience that makes it easy to lose track of time while reading and makes it easier to see the larger narrative within the scriptures. It is also the first original editions published that can be used with study guides, since almost all of the other originals don't have verses in it. The restored version offers pure doctrine in the most historically transparent Mormon triple combination ever made, with a modern format that provides for a smooth, seamless, and spiritual read. Now, to get your copy today, just go to www.restoredscriptures.com or click the link in this episode's show notes. Again, that is www.restoredscriptures.com, or click the link in this episode's show notes and order your copy today and arm you and your family with the Word of God. Now, let's get back to our conversation. That will do it. That will do it.
But I was just like, I feel the spirit so much when I'm like doing this, because it's just like, it's important to, we as Mormons have relied on mainstream Christianity through their animation, through their CGI, and we're lacking behind. We're behind so much that we haven't produced new animated content since the Living Scriptures.
Right.
And it's cool that we can rely on the Christian world, but where's our stories? Where's
Yeah.
Where is what? That's another video I should make, is the Pioneer hand carts. That's another one.
Oh, Willie Martin Handcart Company?
Yeah.
You bet.
Yeah, that's another one I should do. And all the miracles that took place with that. It's cool that we have 17 Miracles, the movie, but where is one that reaches out to other demographics, like to young adults, to even adults? Like, I had a comment today that someone made, and I took a screenshot of it, and the person says, "I love your videos. My daughter loves anime, and I love the subject matter. It gives us something to enjoy together. Thank you. Thank you. Keep them coming."
Nice.
And, it's just like, that's some motivation right there. And like, my end goal with this project that I'm doing is, I want to create enough 5-minute long segments that I can compile them together and submit an application to Angel Studios and say, although this is AI, I have backup with comments saying, "Hey, I love this. There should be more of it. There should be more animated content of Book of Mormon stories." Like, it's just like, and anime compared to American content, like, I love the art style of anime because it's more it's more visual, I suppose. And I have the scene of Joseph Smith at Carthage jail where he says, "Oh Lord, my God," and then jumps out the window, and then you see the people just shoot at him, and it's just like, wow, that actually just happened. And you're just like, what more can be done besides that, and have all these other stories told?
100%. Dude, and I gotta tell you, for me, they are so captivating, right? And look, I'm not a fan of animation. I'm really not, right? But I'll just tell you what happened this week, right? So I think you and I started talking last Sunday, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe
And
so, yeah.
and it was Monday. I was at the gym and I I started doing cardio. Now, look at me. Does it look like I like to do cardio? Right?
Hey, I'm in the same
Cardio,
boat with
but
you.
cardio is what I do on my way to lifting weights. That's what I'm really there for. But all of the sudden, man, I got my headphones on. I'm just going at it on the elliptical machine and I'm just going from video to video. And all of a sudden I look up and like not only is my time done, but I had gone past that. Now, if you can get Dave Sanders to like forget he's doing cardio, that's an accomplishment. And so, but my point is that while yes, it's not necessarily my medium of choice, so to speak, it was still very captivating to see it acted out on the convenience of my phone, right?
Right.
And so, kudos to you, dude. So, wow. So you're not slowing down at all here, Josh.
A little bit. I'm kind of slowing down because I'm making longer form videos, but it's just like
Right.
I have to keep up, gotta keep up, gotta keep making content. And it's just like, you know, William Martin Handcart Company, that's another one that I should do eventually. And then I am working on Joseph Smith and his dealings with plural marriage from the 1830s up until his death. And then I'm going to cover a little bit with like a summary of Brigham Young, a summary of John Taylor, and then a summary of like Wilford Woodruff saying the end of plural marriage.
Wow.
And I think that one's going to probably be my longest one because like from what I have right now, I've already because I shared with you like the Emma and Joseph Smith in the kitchen. Emma saying, "Whoa, hold up, like I don't want to be a part of this. Like go pray about it." But I have going before that, I have the third and final time where the angel appears, and then I created like the first and second time that the angel appears of like, hey, like the first time, hey, you've read about the patriarchs, you've read about plural marriage, like Heavenly Father commands that you do this. And it's just, and I have Joseph Smith going, I need more time. I need to learn more about this. And then
Mm-hmm.
the second time is just like, Joseph, this is your first and final warning, but you will be destroyed if you don't practice plural marriage. And it's just like Joseph says, I still need more time. I I don't think people, especially Oliver Cowdery, will follow what's going on. And then goes into the third time where it's just like, this is the final time, or you will be destroyed. There's no other way. And Joseph's like, if there's no other way, then I will do all the commands that the Father has for me.
Mm-hmm. So do you feel like you were spiritually prompted to do this, or do you think this was born out of just like, where's our stuff? Right? You kind of alluded to that. I'm curious though, is there something deeper going on there? And if there's not, that's okay, because it's still great. but like explain to me the feelings that come to you. I mean, what's going on here inside of you as you do this, right? Like when I start the podcast, I can tell you exactly where I was, right?
Mm-hmm.
When that idea hits. I could tell you the color of the carpet in the hotel room. Um, was it something that pronounced for you, Josh?
Yes, it was. I it's 100%. This is 100% spiritually backed, and it's also for my entertainment and for others' entertainment, but also to present the historical side, to show the facts, to show the truth, because of, oh, well, the church has all this bad history. You should go and investigate what's going on with the church. And that was some comment that someone made on a video, and I said, okay, and I'm making content. Like I'm working
Right.
on the plural marriage video. And he's like, oh, I'm not worried about that. Like, whatever. Like, you're going to dismiss that. Like, you're telling people to not look into the church and look into the history. But it's just like, history is dark and messy. Church history, it can be dark and messy if you want it to be, or it can be light and fluffy.
Right.
And I know you talk about a lot of the Revolutionary War period and
Mm-hmm.
like the history of that. And like I recently put out the current Bush story, so that's like dealing with World War One and that history of like QB Brown being told he can't be a general because he's a Mormon. Like we've been discriminated against since the beginning. And you know what? I think it was after the Grand Blanc attack in Michigan where I was just like, there's really still people out there that want to murder us. Like, really? You want to go out and just blow us all away because you have a different view of Christianity than we do? And it's just like, where's our content? Where is our backup? And that's why I said, even with that woman that wore the temple clothing, that's anti-Mormon now. She was part of the church once, and like you want to mock God. You're going to have a big fall when you mock God. And
Yeah.
you never know when it will happen, but it will happen. I've experienced that.
Absolutely. Ooh. So as you start doing this, like, is there any feeling of apprehension? Right? Are you like, oh, I don't know if I should do this. Like what's because I know I definitely had that internal struggle when I was like, I'm not qualified, right? So did you have any of those same feelings? Did anything make you nervous about doing this?
No, no, because the truth will set you free. And I actually had someone message me and they're like, "Hey, please do Mountain Meadows. It'd be so cool to see what happened with Mountain Meadows." And I was like, "You know what? I'll do it for you, buddy. I'll make that video for you. Here you go." And then the thought of, if you're going to do Mountain Meadows, you better do the 1886 Revelation. And I was just like,
Yeah.
I will do that.
Yeah.
And like I said, working on that John Taylor video, I felt the spirit so much that I would cry making that. And then also I do have a video of Joseph F. Smith in Hawaii. And like I was just laying on my couch because I'm laying on my couch making these prompts, just going firing away. And it's just like, hey, you're forgetting the saints in Hawaii. You need to do something for the saints in Hawaii. And I was like,
100%.
I'm going to do that right now. I will act on that prompting right now.
Okay. This is interesting, right?
Right.
Creator to creator here. Because there have been times, right? And there's one right now that comes to my mind, and I'm not gonna give it away until I get everything in line. But I do think that those guys from Beyond the Veil do come in their own way at their own time through promptings to say, you need to tell my story.
I believe that.
And I do think that if we are getting, look, I'll be honest, I felt that way with John W. Taylor, right?
I love
As
those
I
that podcast. I really love that
Oh,
one.
dude, Michael Ness knocked it out of the park on
He
that one.
did.
And I remember that it was when we were doing Joseph Musser's that W. Taylor, like I knew who he was, but I didn't have a good idea on who he was.
Right.
Right. And but there were times I could feel like he needs a story told. He wants his story told.
Exactly.
Right. And it sounds like maybe that's what you experienced with Joseph F. Smith and the Hawaiian Islands people, is if that's a fair assessment, Josh.
I'll say that's a fair assessment, but it was just like you're not making content for other people. You're making it just for us white people. You need to tell the
Oh, I
gospel.
gotcha.
Like that's the whole prompting was, where is the story of Hawaii? And it's just like,
Mm,
oh, I need to work on that. And that would be another long form video I make too, of like what happened in Hawaii with the church leadership out there, and like why Joseph F. Smith had to go back out there and like fix everything.
absolutely. Ooh. Okay. So let me ask you this question.
All
What's
right.
been the hardest? Well, what's that?
No, I said all right.
Unless there's more you want to add to that.
No, there's nothing else, but go ahead and ask your question.
What's been the hardest part of this process?
Oh man. The hardest part of this process is there's so many videos that I have to create to get the exact wording that I want. And like with the story of the brother of Jared, because I put in Maranhai Moriankamer, I put his name in and I just let it generate. And it's just like at the Tower of Babel, it would say, oh, that's Moronhai Moriankamer, and he has these stones. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, that's not what I'm looking for. I put in specifically that he works with bees. Like, come on, I said bees. And then finally after that, it's like, oh, he works with bees, not bricks. And I was like, oh, finally, that's some good wording. Thank you, AI. You finally worked right. So it's like out of 30 videos or out of 90 videos I can create, half of that is waste because it's like it's not coming out right. The audio is not coming out right.
Mm.
Or there's something else that happens with it. And it's just like, oh my gosh. So it's just like hours upon hours and hours of, and it takes like 2 minutes for the video to generate, 2 to 3 minutes to generate, where it makes all that animation. But it's just like I sit there and I'm like, I'm just like grabbing my phone. I'm like, oh, please be something good. Please be something good. And first try, bam, good. Second try, bam, bad. Third try, good. Now pick between those two. Okay, I like the audio from that one, but I like the action scene that's happening in this one. So I'm going to cut the audio on Cap because I use my phone for everything.
Right.
So I'm using CapCut, which is like associated with TikTok. And it's a great tool because I can extract the audio from one video and then add it to the other one and mute the other video and then have it play out. And it's just like, yes, that works so much better.
I see. Dude, that would be exhausting.
It's fun. It is
Okay.
exhausting.
All right.
It is exhausting, but it's fun. It's 100% fun because you never know what you're going to get.
10-4. Okay. Take me back to that first video you drop. Are you nervous? Like, it's one thing to create something and it's just hanging out, right? In Bitland, right? It's
Oh
just
yeah.
there. And you can watch it, right? I did this with the first one I ever dropped, right?
Mm-hmm.
I edit the audio, I do, I try to get everything just right. And then there's this moment, Josh, where I'm like, okay, like point of no return.
Yep.
And I hit send. Tell me
Yeah.
about your first time when you upload your first video.
So that first video, like I created a few other videos before that. Like I had my TikTok account was just like a junk meme account that I created to just have as TikTok, and also trash video game that me and my buddies play called Railroads Online because the developers of that game suck. But that's neither here nor there. But I upload like a version of Joseph Smith giving a TED talk. That one has like 1,500 views. I was like, okay, I'll just have that, and then create one of like Joseph Smith explaining why he had to go to Missouri in a TED talk form. And I was like, okay, that didn't really hit. And then I was like, why don't you just start doing anime, because everybody else is doing anime for Jesus Christ and like Bible stories. Just do anime, dude. I was like, all right, and I'll start with Joseph. I type in the prompt. Joseph Smith, after the first vision, speaks with preachers about his first vision experience. And then I just hit send on that, watch the video, and I'm like, that's good enough. I like that video. And I post it, and I'm just like, I don't think I'm not going to get a lot of views. I don't care, whatever. I'm just doing this to glorify God pretty much, because it's just like, where's our Mormon content? And all of a sudden it starts, like, I can look at the analytics too. It starts taking off, and I'm just like, oh, I have 8,000 views on the first day. Like, whoa, that's crazy. And then it ends up being about 22,000 views. And like, I still get views on it, but every so often. And I was just like, yep, I'm going to start making this is what us young kids say. I'm going to start making Mormon brain rot. See if I can
Mormon
get,
brain work.
yeah, Mormon brain rot. Yeah. See what I can do with it. So and then I just type in another one of like Joseph Smith anime opening, uh, summarize the story of Joseph Smith's life, and send that off. I'm just like, whatever. Get 17,000 views at the end of it. I was just like, you know what? I really need to start like focusing on the story of the church. I need to start doing that. I need to start doing the Book of Mormon. And I'm talking to my friend Sean, and he's actually in school right now to be an animator. And
Okay.
I'm like, dude, like, what can I do? I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And he's just like, you know what? Keep doing it, because it's really good stuff that you're making. And so like
Oh
before I even upload a video, I send a video to him and put it on our Discord, and he's just like, yeah, that's good. I like that. And it's just like, at least he's not mad that I'm using AI instead of real traditional artwork. But he's like, you should go out and see if a studio use these as a pitch, and see if like a studio would pick you up and do
Heck
something
yeah.
with real animators. And I was just like, you know what? Yeah, that probably works. And like, I look into Angel Studios, and it's like you can submit little clips, or you can submit like a 30-minute episode, and it's just like the fee is $250. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and save enough money for a $250, and then eventually figure out how to download everything, and then send it off, and then say, although I used AI, I've included screenshots of people saying, I enjoy this kind of content. I'm bonding with my family over this. And it's just like, just keep it up, keep doing it. This is great. And then you have your naysayers against the church. It's just like, oh, you're
Sure.
using anime because pedophiles like anime. And I'm just like, and that's totally applicable for the church,
Oh,
because Joseph Smith was a pedophile. And I was just like, whatever. You want to be a negative Nancy, go ahead, whatever. I don't care.
dude, haters are gonna hate.
Yeah,
That's what they
exactly.
do, right? And here's what I've discovered in the time I've had the podcast. There are going to be those that, especially because of the subject matter, they're going to hate it.
Yep.
right? Because you're going to put forward truth and you're going to do it in a way that really threatens them. Here's what I've discovered, right? Is that they really don't like it when we play with their stuff, right?
Correct.
And the tech side of things, AI, podcasts, all that stuff, they look at it like that's our stuff.
Yep.
And so when somebody else tries to do the work of the Lord with it, it drives them insane. I mean, like derangement kind of insane at times, I have discovered. And you need to get to a point, this is going to sound bad, where you can embrace that, right? My grandfather used to say, you're not over the target if you're not taking flack,
Right.
right? And I'm like, oh, that hurts. I hit a spot. I'm going to do it again, right? Because not because I'm trying to be mean, but because I feel like the Lord's telling me you're onto something. Don't let up. You're irritating the adversary. Keep going. And and one creator to another, bro, embrace that. The sooner you can embrace that, it's going to become a motivation to you.
Well, I'm a duck and I let the water just roll off my back.
Yep.
Or I'm a rough stone rolling like Joseph Smith. I'll be
Yep.
made perfect
Absolutely.
eventually.
Absolutely. Whew. So when you see, that one starts getting 8,000 views off the bat, do you think, uh-oh, what did I do?
I I don't know. I didn't feel that way. I was just like, you know what? I'm spreading the gospel and I'm having a good time doing it. I'm not a missionary. Well, I mean, I'm still technically a missionary because you never get released from being a missionary. But it's just like I'm just spreading the gospel the best way I can. And it also kind of goes into like after Charlie Kirk got assassinated, you had a
Mm-hmm.
big, huge revival of like people wanting to be Christians again.
Right.
And I was just like, I really want to go out and do street preaching as a Mormon and see how people react. And I was just like, nah, I enjoy my privacy. I'm too lazy. I'll go, I'll do whatever. And then all of a sudden, Sora AI. I was just like, that's the best way I can spread the gospel using AI.
Exactly. Exactly. So I'm gonna ask this question. What what is your worst fear in doing this? Right? Because there's always something that could backfire, right? What's the one thing as you do this that you're like, okay, what are some of the pitfalls here I can encounter?
You know what? I haven't thought of the negative, to be honest with you. The only
Okay.
thing I worried about was the 1886 revelation because it's just like,
Just with your membership in the church?
yeah. And it's just like,
Gotcha.
if someone sees that and they know it's me, I guarantee you I'll get a talking to and say, "Well, do you believe in the practice of plural marriage?" And then like I'll be like, "Well, no, I don't." And if you actually watch the video, I put a warning in front of it saying this video is neither for or against the practice of plural marriage. That's what I'll say. And it's just like and be like, "You know what? I enjoy history. I enjoy learning of history, and we have these firsthand accounts and sworn and testified to of John Taylor's revelation."
Right. And now we know for certain it's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing,
So
yes.
interesting. So let me ask, with that then, what do you hope that this really does for other Mormons or even non-Mormons, right? What are your hopes for your TikTok channel here?
Well, I put in a little summary because it has like you can put a little bio, and I said making AI Mormon videos, making AI Mormon video content to be spiritually uplifting, informative, honest, and objective. Because what's better form than audio visual to be
Right.
saying the truth.
Absolutely. Okay. So let me ask you this. You said you needed about $250 to get the program that you needed, right?
The question of money is not a big issue. It's just like I can save the money from all the jobs I do and eventually submit it to Angel Studios and see if I could be a creative producer and then say, let's have people that are in BYU that are animators come on board and start creating animated content in a Japanese anime style. That's the end goal.
Gotcha. Now, let me ask you this. Are you all concerned, right? Because look, you may have some conflict of interest there with taking it to BYU, right? Because I'm
Oh,
not
true,
sure
yeah.
that anyone's going to want to line up to like, yeah, we should totally do this on the 1886 revelation.
You know, with that, it's called history. Can we be honest about history? Can we say, even if it doesn't get created, like a full animated version of the 1886 version vision, it's going to be there on my TikTok. You can still watch it. You can still feel a spirit when
Mhm.
you watch it. And if they don't want to do something with it, totally fine. It's not a huge issue. But it's just like, you know, it's nice being in a Mormon bubble and having bubble content and going saying, "Oh, hey, this the movie about the young boy in Nazi Germany is coming out, right?"
Right.
And it's just like, well, is it going to be in other theaters across the United States? Like, what's going on with that? And it's just like, and then also, like, I know there was like a Moroni movie that came out recently too, within
Yeah,
the past two
I
years.
remember that.
And it's just like, you're only releasing it in a predominantly Mormon area. Like, I think that's where I'm trying to word it right. We only make content for ourselves. And it's even that there was another movie. It was about the 16 stones of the brother Jared, and that was just like, well, that's not really even true if that even happened. But it's just like we're making content for ourselves, and it's like we need to be like the Christians of the world and make content about us and release it for us. And it's just like you have all these young kid animations where it's like, I don't know, I'm not going to say it's sloppy, but it's just like sometimes it can be dumb to watch. And you're just like, oh, that's cool, neat. And then it's just like I said earlier, we haven't had any real content for us in the past 30 years for our animation besides the Living Scriptures, the Book of Mormon stories, and the First Vision video. And like I was a kid and I saw on the First Vision video VHS cassette box, there was a big bright red one. And I was like, wow, is there going to be like more videos of Joseph Smith and church history? That'd be so cool. And never came to fruition. And it's just like you have so many stories that you can draw from, like with Brigham Young seeing the battle in heaven and everything right before Joseph Smith produces the Book of Mormon. That vision. Who else was in that vision too? It was like not was it Wilford Woodruff that saw it on the other end, or they were like neighbors and they're like a mile apart or something.
Oh, I can't remember. Maybe it was it Rigdon
I don't think it was rigged, and I don't think so. But it's just like we have all these cool stories that can be
or
produced.
Kimball? Excuse me, I didn't
I
mean
think
Rigdon. I
yes,
meant
it was
Kimball.
Kimball. It was Kimball. You're correct. I believe it was Kimball. But it's just like you have all these cool stories that can be animated and done well. But what do? We just go, church history is scary. I can't handle the truth and cower about it, you know? Like
Right.
it's just getting to the point of like we need to gear up for the second coming, obviously, but it's just like we need to show our fruits. We need to show everything. We need to be truthful about everything and honest about everything and look at it and go, you know, this may have happened, but here it is presented open, honestly, and do what you want with it. You want to say, "Oh no, that's anti-Mormon," or go, "Oh no, that's promoting fundamentalism. That's bad." Like it's out there. It's out there now.
Yeah, it's the age of the internet. There are no more secrets,
Yeah,
right? It's all there. The only question we have to answer now in this generation is what are we going to do with it? Right?
right,
Are we going to embrace it? Are we going to tell our own story? Because here's the thing. There's a ton of news outlets, there's a ton of detractors that are trying to tell our story for us right now, right?
right.
And I'm not just talking about fundamentalists, mainstream LDS folks, independents, fundamentalists, the gamut, right? And if we cede that ground to them, they will not give an honest telling of our history.
Well, it's like that preacher, like right after the shooting that happened in Grand Blanc, Michigan, is
Hmm.
just like, "Oh well, the Book of Mormon's still evil." No, it's not. How is the Book of Mormon evil when it testifies of nothing but Jesus Christ? I can tell
Right?
you that the Quran is totally backwards and doesn't even believe that Jesus Christ was the Son of God and he was only a prophet of God and that he didn't really die on the cross and everything. But and you don't backbite on that, but oh, you have Joseph Smith. He was a young boy and he sees God the Father and Jesus Christ, and it's just like you have a mental breakdown. It's like almost like Trump derangement syndrome. You have Mormon derangement syndrome, MDS.
Totally, totally. You need to go ahead and put that on a t-shirt, by the way. That's your that's your next big one. MBS, Mormon, or MDS, Mormon derangement syndrome.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's fascinating. So, have you thought about the impact this could have on kids, right? Because look, as a parent myself, I know one of the big things I constantly struggled with is just not even necessarily teaching the gospel, just someplace to send that I can like sit my kid down for 10 minutes while I'm, doing whatever and be like, watch this and then let's talk about it, right?
Right.
Have you thought about those applications to this at all?
I have, especially with that comment that I read off earlier about how the person was like, I'm having a great time bonding and sharing this with my kid because they like anime. And it's like, there is that demographic as soon as you get like into being a teenager, you're kind of edgy. You're like, "Ooh, I want to watch like this and that. I want to see blood and guts and stuff." And it's just like, I'll just watch anime because I know that's where I get to see all the edgy content. But it's just like, well, we can use anime to glorify and testify of Christ. And there's actually there's an anime called Vinland Saga, and like that has gospel elements in it, but it's just more talking about like Vikings and the discovery of America through Vikings. But it's just like you have I gotta find it real quick because I love watching that video. It's like, what Bible verse is it? and it's not going to tell me. Oh, there's a person reading to an old man in bed, Matthew 5:43 through 48, like love your enemies. And it's just like you're watching that video and you're you're hearing the gospel being taught through that form, even though it's an anime that's like dealing with fighting and everything. And it's just like you have a moment of like the gospel being preached to everyone at that time. Like you can hear, like you can see what's going on with the Viking or the Norse people. And then there's another thing too. I like watching Russian animation, and they have a lot of videos of like there's one called Bear Your Cross, and it's about a guy that's like he's really struggling because the Mongols are coming through. They destroy his family, or they destroy his household, and he's just like, God, why is this happening? And an angel comes, and it's like, well, you want to choose your own cross? There's a whole bunch of different crosses here. And first he grabs like this big, like beautiful golden cross, and it's like it shows a Russian prince fighting the Mongol hordes, and ultimately that Russian prince gets killed, and he gets lifted up with spears in the form of the cross, and then it goes back to the Russian peasant, and it's just like, oh no, I can't bear that cross, I can't do that. And then it shows another cross, and he picks it up, and it's like a simple cross, and it shows a monk praying in a cave and being attacked by demons, and the demons are like, oh, you can go and be lustful, you can go and do this, you can go and do that, and just having that spiritual attack happen constantly while trying to pray and trying to read the scriptures and be a monk in isolation and having to deal with that. And the guy's just like, oh, well, I can't bear that cross, that's something I can't deal with either. And then it just shows a really simple wooden cross. Oh, and I haven't watched it in a long while now. I'm just trying to remember what that part was. But in the end, it goes back to him, and it's just like, this is what you can do to bear your own cross. Like you can be doing X, Y, and Z, and you can have a better family after the situation. You can do whatever. And it's just like, where's our animated content like that? You know, it's just like you have this beautiful medium to use art to teach and edify everyone.
Right. And we live in such a remarkable time now where guys like you and I can have not just impact within our own community, right? But it goes out to the world,
Right.
right? Like there are these mediums are available now where they can penetrate any place that has signal,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think back to those early restoration days even, right? What would they have given to be able to send messages like we can send them, to tell stories in a way that is complete and whole, and be able to have them go out in a flash, right? It's nothing short of miraculous. And yet we use that tech to play Angry Birds, right?
Oh,
I just find it just an interesting dichotomy.
you know, especially since I've been doing these animated videos, like I see even anti-Mormon content with AI, and there's like an animated, like kind of looks like a Family Guy skit, and it's like showing Joseph Smith eating mushrooms and then having God the Father and Jesus Christ appear. Because I don't know if you ever heard of that theory of like Joseph Smith
I
ate
have. I've heard
mushrooms and
them. Yeah.
everything, and I'm just like, how are we at this point where we're trying to go, oh, Joseph Smith was high when he saw God? Like, really? Like, come on.
Yeah, totally. No, and look, here's the other thing I want to say, Joshua, is that we're in a position now where kind of the church's problems are also our problems as fundamentalism, right? Like the problems facing the restoration aren't really contained to one group any longer.
No.
We're all up against the wall now, trying to fend the wolves off, so to speak, and protect our children and make sure they're getting correct messaging. And so there is so much shared history here
Yep.
that I feel like you can kind of be able to fill that void. And I think that's so important. With that said, what's your hopes? We've talked about maybe going to a bigger studio or whatever, but outside of that, what are your big hopes here for your channel?
You know what? At the end of the day, it's just the gospel. It just comes down to what kind of story that I can create with AI that will resonate with someone that either watches it for 22 seconds and then flips off to a different video, or sticks around and watches the whole video till the very end. And it's just like, I chose TikTok over YouTube because it's just like brain rot. There's nothing but brain rot on TikTok. So I'm just going to make these short clips to grab people's attention. And, at the end of the day, I don't want to make short content. I want to make fantastic stories. I want to be able to like with the Brother Jared video, it's just like talking to it shows or Moroni at the very beginning going, man, Moroni Moriankimer, how am I going to fill this on this whole page or of the book or this plate? Like, I can't believe his name's that long, and I need space to write for myself. So I'm going to shorten it down to the Brother Jared. And it's just like, can we humanize the scriptures even more with animation? And
Oh, that's fantastic.
like, I'm going to make a Alma the Younger video too eventually, and just like how Alma the Younger and the Sons of Mosiah went around wanting to destroy the church, and then Alma being struck by an angel to repent. Like, that's another one that I want to do. And it's just like, how can we humanize Alma from the scriptures and show like the riotous living that he had? And it's just like, like going back to the Living Scriptures, like the Living Scriptures has that kind of video too, and it touches on it too, but it's just like, why don't we show that like he's actively going against the church and is like preaching against the church, saying, oh, this stuff that my father's teaching, whole bunch of lies. It's never going to happen. I'm going to listen to core horror. I'm going to listen to these other people that have said Christ isn't going to come, or that he's not going to do this. And it's just like, let's bring it to our day. Let's bring it to where we're at as a society of, oh, the second coming's never going to happen, or there's no more prophets on the earth. There can only there's a person that posted on a video. They're like, there can't be any Gentile prophets. They're all supposed to be Jews. And I'm like, oh, buddy, I can either make a Bible video and say we have a Bible and that's enough Bible that we need, and then go, Christ says he talks to everyone everywhere, and he has not forgotten any of us.
Right. You hit on something that's so important there, Joshua, which is humanizing the scriptures, right? And we tend to do something very similar when we some of our like revolutionary heroes, and I'd say we do
Right.
this with Mormon heroes too, where we have this tendency to turn them into marble statues, right? They're pristine, they're white, not like literal statues, sometimes
Right.
literal statues, but metaphorically speaking, marble statues, right? Now they might be beautiful to stare upon, right? They may seem pure, right? That nice white marble. But the problem with that is that when we don't humanize them, two things happen. One is we don't get to tell their full story. And that story is important because look, every bit of humanity, barring Jesus Christ, Every bit of humanity is riddled with imperfections, with flaws, with shortcomings, with failings, right? But nonetheless, God uses imperfect people to perform his perfect work. And
Exactly.
sometimes we tend to look at those people who we have turned into marble statues and we say, we just can't attain to that level. Well, no
Right.
kidding, because you're telling an incorrect story, right? God uses imperfect people all the time to perform his work. And sometimes I think we like making them marble statues so we don't have to worry about it anymore, right? We can say, well, that's for the next guy that comes along that is pure and spotless. When in reality, we're falling down at our callings because we've convinced ourselves we're not worthy.
Right. And like, but it's just like, yeah, people make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, and they can rise above it and still be a better person.
Absolutely. Well, brother, I think what you're doing here is fantastic work. I am a fan. In fact, with your permission, I would love to stick a link to your Facebook, excuse me, your TikTok page on the 1830 website that I have for
Go
people
ahead.
to just go and view if you're good with that.
Go ahead. Like, put it in the upload, like in the Apple or whatever. Just put that in there too for the TikTok if you wanted to do that. And like
Yep,
that's the best way to reach out to me too is just message me on TikTok and say, "Hey, I enjoy your content. Keep it up."
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, dude, is there anything else that we didn't cover that you'd like to cover yourself?
No, I think we hit everything on the head.
Perfect. Well, dude, it was a pleasure. And man, as you start doing these projects more and more, keep me informed. We'll get you back on. You got a standing invitation to come on. And look, I'm just saying, you're creating this content that's benefiting all of us, right?
Right.
And I know firsthand that doing these things aren't necessarily on the cheap, right? And so, dude, if you wanted to make a GoFundMe page, it's not that much, and I think people would absolutely donate to this
Oh,
to
I
get
made a
this off the ground.
Patreon. I made a Patreon. I'm like, yeah, I'll figure it out how to make donations or whatever.
Okay, well, make a Patreon and send that to me, all right?
Okay, yeah, I have it made up. And like
Okay,
I just don't know how to really run Patreon on the business side because I've always used it to like subscribe to content creators.
sure, sure. I did it once. You can do it. If I
Yeah,
can navigate it, you can navigate it. Um,
true.
but no, I mean, really, man, I can't. I think this is going to fill a massive void in Mormonism. I feel like it's needed, and I'm here to support you however I can. So, man, keep up the good work.
You know what, Dave? I really appreciate that. I really appreciate being on the podcast and being able to speak with you and share everything that I'm doing. I really appreciate it.
No sweat, man. I am so glad to have you on, and yeah, let's do it again.
Okay, I will
All
keep
right,
you informed.
perfect. All right, hang out for just 5 minutes. All right.
Not a problem.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.